The Villain, 1979, a retro review of comedy, Western, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's early career. The Villain, also known as Cactus Jack, is a 1979 Western comedy film that features a charming mix of slapstick humor, satire, and a bit of the Wild West flair, all wrapped up in an entertaining package. The movie stars Kirk Douglas as the bumbling villain Cactus Jack, Ann-Margret as the lovely but somewhat naive Charming Jones, and Arnold Schwarzenegger in one of his earliest roles as the handsome stranger. Directed by Hal Needham, The Villain is a film that combines comedic elements with the Western genre, which sets it apart from the typical gritty, dramatic Westerns of the time. The plot. Set in the Wild West, the plot follows the story of Charming Jones, a beautiful woman who is about to inherit a fortune. To get his hands on her wealth, the evil but incompetent outlaw Cactus Jack, played by Kirk Douglas, is hired to capture her and steal her money. However, things take a wild turn when the handsome stranger, Arnold Schwarzenegger, a mysterious hero with a noble heart, shows up to save the day. The film plays with the classic Western tropes, but with an over-the-top comedic flair, as Cactus Jack continuously bungles his plans. And the handsome stranger takes an exaggeratedly heroic stance in trying to protect Charming. What makes The Villain stand out is its blend of slapstick comedy and Western themes. The action sequences are not meant to be taken too seriously, and much of the film leans into physical humor and improbable situations. It's clear that the villain wasn't striving for high drama or realistic Western grit, but instead aimed for a lighthearted, fun experience that pokes fun at the genre. The characters. Kirk Douglas as Cactus Jack. Douglas's portrayal of the bumbling outlaw is a masterclass in slapstick comedy. While his character is meant to be a villain, his incompetence and lack of intelligence make him more of a comedic figure than a true threat. His endless misadventures in trying to capture Charming are the backbone of much of the humor in the film. Ann-Margret as Charming Jones. Ann-Margret is delightful as the damsel in distress, though she's not entirely helpless. Her character is clever and sweet, bringing an earnest charm to the movie that contrasts nicely with the chaotic antics around her. She plays the role with her trademark grace and comedic timing, offering a grounding presence amid the madness. Arnold's role as the heroic stranger is a fun departure from the action-heavy characters he would later become famous for. As a man of few words, the handsome stranger embodies a kind of silent, classic Western hero, but with a comedic twist. Schwarzenegger's trademark muscular physique, combined with his humorous approach to the role, adds a layer of both physicality and charm to the film. Themes and style. At its core, The Villain is a satire of the Western genre, poking fun at the common cliches and tropes associated with cowboy films. The dynamic between Cactus Jack, Charming Jones, and the handsome stranger is a humorous play on the traditional bad guy versus good guy scenario, where the villain is more of a fool than a formidable adversary, and the hero is a walking punchline. The film relies on physical humor, visual gags, and clever dialogue, making it an enjoyable watch for fans of lighthearted westerns and comedic fare. The film's style reflects the 1970s trend of spoofing established genres. The Villain doesn't try to take itself too seriously, and that's part of its charm. The slapstick comedy combined with Western elements like gunfights, horseback chases, and rugged landscapes give the film its nostalgic appeal. Arnold Schwarzenegger's early career. The Villain is one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's early forays into film, following his breakthrough role in Conan the Barbarian, 1982, and his eventual rise to superstardom with The Terminator, 1984. At this stage in his career, Arnold was still relatively unknown to audiences, and his role as the handsome stranger demonstrates a lighter, more comedic side to the actor that fans would later come to appreciate in films like Twins, 1988, and Kindergarten Cop, 1990. Though this film is often overlooked when discussing Arnold's career, it's an interesting early entry in his filmography. It allows us to see his charm and charisma even before he became an action icon, and it highlights his ability to do comedy, something that would become a defining part of his later success. Comparing The Villain to other films. While The Villain is often categorized as a Western comedy, Its tone and humor can be compared to other films that blend slapstick and action in the 70s. Movies like Blazing Saddles, 1974, and Cat Ballou, 1965, also parody the Western genre, but with a sharper, more satirical edge. The villain, on the other hand, is much lighter and family-friendly, with less biting social commentary and more emphasis on physical comedy. Kirk Douglas and Ann-Margret's performances. Kirk Douglas, with his well-established career, plays the role of Cactus Jack with typical gusto. His comic timing and willingness to embrace the absurdity of the role elevate the film's overall humor. Douglas's charm is evident, even when his character is causing chaos and getting into ridiculous situations. Ann-Margret, as mentioned, provides a perfect foil to the madness around her, offering both beauty and grace with a slight edge of comedic flair. She's often the voice of reason, even though she's caught in an absurd situation. Together with Douglas and Schwarzenegger, she helps anchor the movie's tone, making it both fun and watchable. Conclusion: The Villain is a delightful Western comedy that offers a quirky twist on the genre, featuring some memorable performances by Kirk Douglas, Ann-Margret, and a young Arnold Schwarzenegger. Though it doesn't have the same lasting impact as some of the classic Westerns or comedies of the time, it's a fun watch that allows viewers to see a different side of Arnold before he became the action superstar we know today. If you're a fan of early Arnold, classic comedies, or just enjoy a good Western spoof, The Villain is worth checking out for its lighthearted charm and goofy humor.